All right, good morning. I'm Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply, and today we're going to be making what I call the Penlock notebook. There it is, right there. This particular one is made out of olive green harness from Wicket Craig. Really great leather, really pretty. Olive green seems to kind of be in style right now, or maybe it's just I'm liking it because my watch band was the same, you know. Anyway, all right, so what I really love about this is the pen locks it closed. Okay, you pull the pen out and there it opens up. You got room over here for business cards or bank cards or whatever kind of stuff. You got a pocket right here for whatever you want to put in it. It will hold a Field Notes brand like standard notebook, or this is the small tally book that we sell. I'm not a huge fan of Field Notes just because they're really thin. They don't have a ton of paper in them. Not that I really need that much paper at once. When I first built this project, I liked it, but the more I carry it around and the more people see it, I love it. It seems in today's digital age, not many people carry around a notebook with a pen anymore. I mean, it's hard to find somebody that's got a pen on them. So I don't know. I can whip this thing out and start writing a lot faster than most people can find the app on their phone where they were going to take notes. So anyway, there it is. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so this was one of the two projects in this month's project box. That was the other one right there, the easy card envelope. Did a build video on it yesterday, so look it up if you're interested. But this one was the bigger project in the project box. So since it was part of the project box, we sent out an already cut out one out of leather and the template to make more later. Okay, so let's kind of go over the pieces here. We've got the main body piece right here. Okay, just kind of go to them as we get to them. I've got 3 card pockets that are the higher up ones, and then 1 base pocket right here. Okay, those are all 2 to 3 ounce bridle. This one is about a 4 or 5, maybe even a 5/6. Either of those will work just fine for this project. Okay, and then I've got 2 more big rectangles. One of them is more narrow. It's the one that all the card pockets are going to go on, and the other one is the wider one. That one's the one that holds your notebook. Okay, so to get started, the very first thing I need to do is a little bit of burnishing on some of these areas or some of these pieces. Okay. So each of the tops of the card pockets needs to get burnished, and then one of the long sides of the notebook holding piece. All right. So I'm going to also, though, I'm going to use a Very King creaser over here, and I'm going to add a crease line to those same areas I'm about to burnish. This is a totally optional step, but what it does is it just adds this nice little crease, and it's a kind of a professional look. Makes things where they're not quite so plain looking. Sometimes I crease before I burnish, sometimes I do it after I burnish. I hadn't really found a huge difference in the two. Somebody might chime in the comments if they know of a reason to do it, before or after. But anyway, it just adds that nice little line in there, a little bit of professionalism, So again, I'm going to do the tops of all these card pockets, and then I'm going to burnish the tops of all these card pockets and that same edge on that piece that I just did. So I'm not going to make you watch me do them all. I will pause the video, and when I get back, we'll burnish up a card pocket, and then we'll pause it again so I can burnish all the rest of them. Alright, so I got me a little crease line on the tops of all those. Looks nice. Now I'm going to take a very, very small edge beveler. Now these were cut out on a clicker, okay? For the new ones out there that don't know what that really means, it's like a giant cookie cutter in a heavy press, and it goes down and cuts these things out. So that clicker die, that cookie cutter, kind of rounds the tops of these a little bit. So when I'm edging something really thin that was clicker cut, I don't use my edger on the front side of it. I just go ahead and do the back side, because the front really doesn't need it, and it'll kind of screw it up more than anything. Okay, so again, I'm just going to do one of these, even though I'm going to end up doing it to all of them. Yeah, so I'm going to take my Tokonole here, wipe a little bit of it on the edge. Okay, and kind of rub it in with my finger a little bit. Wipe the excess off on the bottom of my desk, because, you know, who cares? Then I'll just take my canvas here and give it a light rubbing, okay? The thinner leathers, you don't have to rub them hard because you're going to fold them over and mess them up. And these aren't, you know, these are just, we're just doing this to make it smooth. We're not doing it to, you know, totally round anything or anything like that. Just making her smooth. And that's it. Okay, so again, we're going to do that piece, and it's two brothers that look exactly like it. Oh, off camera. It's two brothers that look exactly like it. We're going to do the base card pocket piece right here, and we're going to do that edge that we put that crease line on this piece. Okay, when I come back, those will be done. All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite part, and that is skiving. Okay, and there's not a ton of skiving to do on this, but we do need to skive these little pockets right here. Okay, the little trapezoid shaped ones, not the rectangular one. Okay, and I already went ahead and skived two of them, and I did use my actual skiving knife because I am really trying to be a lot more proficient with it and not rely on my really cool skiving machine as much. But anyway, so what we're going to skive though, let me just get an ink pen and I'll kind of draw it out because this is the back of the leather, so it doesn't really matter. We want to skive that general area right there. Okay, you can see where my pen marks are. Everything outside the pen marks is what we'd like to skive to make it thinner, so that as we stack these card pockets under the wallet or into the wallet, they don't create a lot of bulk. Okay, so using a Japanese style skiving knife, this is not the one that we sell. I do love the one we sell, but I think, I don't know, it might be over in the store. It's not in my office. So this one's a Leather Wrangler's knife. It is a really nice knife. So there we go. And see where I kind of took out a little bit of a chip there, because here I am on video and I didn't make it as nice as the ones I did off the video. That's okay. A little chip like that is more than fine. It just comes with practice, or it comes with not practicing, I guess you could say. But anyway, with one of these skiving knives, you run them sideways like this, and you just keep doing that and slicing slowly, and then you, as you feel it, you can tell if you're going too deep or you're not going deep enough, but you want it to thin out to a feathered edge at the very edge of it. It's harder on smaller pieces because you got to hold the dang things too, you know. All right. One more piece. Seriously, I'm eating this one up, but here I did two of them really nice before I turned the dang camera on. Doesn't that figure? That's how I operate, yo. There we go. That one's going to be nice. Alrighty. Now we are ready to sew the pockets together. Okay, so the rectangle that we did not do the oh my goodness, creased line on is the one we want to use. It's the same width as all of our card pockets, right? This other one is wider than our card pockets. That's how you know it's not the right one. So we need to measure where we're going to put the card pockets on here. All right. So how these stack up is they should be separated by about 5/8 of an inch from each other. So what I need to do is take a ruler and a scratch awl or something to make marks with. Grab my, okay, and I'm just going to measure 5/8 from the bottom of this piece. Okay, this ruler has an 1/8 inch grid square on it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 1/8" grid squares. These 5/8, right? And then I'm just going to make a line. And then I'll know that's where the next pocket goes. Now from that line, I'll measure again and go 5/8 of an inch and make another line. Making sure that I keep it nice and straight. You don't want your card pockets all whomper-jawed and crazy on there. And then we're going to go up 5/8 of an inch again. There's 3 of those pockets. There we go. That's what it looks like. Just 3 little lines, okay? And now we know where to put the bottom of one of these pockets. And then we'll glue it on, and then we'll sew it on. And then we put the next pocket on it. We glue it on, and then we sew it on. And then we put the next pocket. Where does it go? Oh. We glue it on and sew it on. And then they're all covered up by the base pocket here. And it is also glued on. And once, we're just sewing the bottoms of these other pockets. Once we get the base pocket on, then we sew an entire line down one side of it. Okay, and that would be this area right here. The other side will get sewn into the entire project once everything's ready to do our final assembly. Now, generally, I do hand sew projects like this, but I'm trying to make sure I get this video done today because we leave for Sheridan in a couple of days. I got a lot of stuff to do, so I am at least going to use my sewing machine to sew on the bottoms of these pockets because they'll never be seen. We'll kind of see how time is going, and if I have plenty of time, then I will hand sew all of the stitching on the wallet that we can see. I do prefer to hand stitch smaller projects like this. I enjoy hand stitching. It looks really nice. I'm pretty good at it. And to me, it's just a little bit classier. Okay? So, but I don't always have time, especially if I'm doing, something like this. All right, now, so what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some of my contact cement just above each of those little lines. Actually, nope, we're going to hold that thought. We're going to put our top card pocket on here. Okay, and we're going to get it exactly where we want it. We're going to take our fingernail, or something else if you want, and make a tiny little mark just up underneath it on this base piece. Okay, and what we're doing is we're marking where our contact cement will stop. Okay, because we're going to put contact cement all the way down and around the bottom of this. All right, and then we're going to put it on the bottoms of each of these, and as we stick them all together, they'll hold really nicely. Okay. So, a lot of contact cement about to get slung here. Alright, so we're going to go all the way around the perimeter, stopping just short of that little mark that we just made. And we don't want to get it crazy into the leather, okay? We just want it on the edge, 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16, but you don't even want to go a full 1/4 of an inch. That's a little much. Okay. The more you glue this down, then the smaller your card pockets will end up being, and then you might have tight card pockets. I recently made myself a nice new wallet, and it was kind of an experimental pattern, and I absolutely love the wallet. I took the time to make it out of really nice alligator and all this stuff, but my card pockets ended up way too tight, and I've been carrying this wallet for 3 or 4 months, and my card pockets are just now at the point where I can easily pull cards in and out. So it's pretty funny to stand at the cash register somewhere and try to pull a daggum card out of it and watch those people be like, God, what idiot made your wallet? Me, I'm that idiot. Alright, so now I'm putting it just on above each of those 3 lines. Okay, so there's everywhere that we've got contact cement on this. Around the edges up to those little marks that we made, and then above each of those 3 lines. I'm going to set that to the side, and on each of the card pockets, the trapezoid shaped ones, we're going to do a very thin line down at the bottom. And then we're going to do what I call the wings, which is the very top part up here on the sides. Okay, so there it is. It's on this edge and this edge, excuse me, and then on the very bottom down there. Obviously on the back side of the pocket. This one's going to get creative because it's the one that I took a chunk out of the bottom of. There's still plenty of room to sew it and make it all match up though. I'm a stickler for when I put card pockets on, I want them all to be very, very evenly spaced, because that really does affect the overall appearance of a wallet. You know, if they're all womper-jawed and stuff like that. I actually injured my back pretty good in Iraq. We were running through a house, and of course when you're running through a house you're not looking down at your feet. It was more of an apartment building, but anyway, you're not looking down at your feet, you're looking, you know, up the stairs if you're going up the stairs, or down the stairs if you're going down the stairs. And well, they're not known for standards for the most part when they build stuff over there, so all their steps aren't the same height and stuff. And man, I took either a short step or a long step, and it just jarred the crap out of my back wearing all that gear. And man, you know, when you say you got hurt in Iraq, you at least want a cool story to tell, but not, oh, I fell down the stairs. Alright, now I'm going to take the very first one of these and I'm going to place it. I'm going to place the bottom of it first, very lightly, just above that line down there. Okay, very lightly. I'm not pressing down yet because I want to make sure that my top is going to line up perfectly with the edges, and it's going to be straight and pretty and, you know, all that nonsense. There we go. Now I'm pressing it down. Okay, now I have to go over to my sewing machine and just sew a little line right there at the bottom of that. If you're hand sewing, that's fine. It takes, you know, 5 to 10 minutes to hand sew each of these little lines, and that's collectively 30 minutes that I'll save by just running over to my sewing machine and throwing some stitches on it right quick. Okay, when I come back, we're going to put the next pocket on and then do the exact same thing, then put the next pocket on and do the exact same thing. See where I'm going with this? Anyway, I'll be right back. Alright, so there's the little stitch I made with my sewing machine. Okay, now I'm going to take a hammer right quick and just tap those stitches down. I'm not normally a stickler for tapping down stitches like on the outside of this. I won't do them and everything. But in between the card pockets, it just helps it to be a nice smooth transition to the next pocket. Alright, now we're going to set the next one on top of that one. Lining up once again the bottom first. Just don't want to let it get on there early. Lining up the bottom first and then laying our sides down. There we go. And the more you can line up these edges right here, then the better off you'll be when it comes to doing edges up there. They'll be nice and smooth and not difficult to work with. So I got to throw another stitch on there. Then I'm going to come back with my third one and do the exact same thing again. So when I get back, the second and third one will all be glued down and sewn. Alrighty, so there they are. Those 3 card pockets are nice and stacked and looking pretty. I did not put glue on the bottom of this one, and I should have, but I'm going to put glue on 3 sides of this, and it's going to cover that bottom one down there. Okay. First I need to tap these last stitches down. Put a little bit of glue on this one. If I can get it on there good and thin, we won't have to wait for it to set up. Alright, so we're going to take this piece, and usually when I'm doing the bottom one, I'll line up these bottom corners first, and then just kind of walk the sides up and lay it down nice and flat and even. Looking pretty. Now, the other thing I like to do is take that same hammer and these edges right here, I like to beat them down. okay, where we had that skived area where another one's sitting on top of it now, we can really flatten that down nice and make it a much nicer transition. So I like to just go ahead and beat that down a little bit. Much more professional. Not as bulky. Very nice. Alright, so yeah, I am running short on time today, so I am going to go ahead and machine sew this, this wallet. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go over there to my machine, I'll bring the camera with me, and I'll bring my glue with me, and we're going to put a lot of the rest of this wallet together right there at the sewing machine, because honestly, we're down to final assembly here in a few minutes, okay? But the first thing I need to do is I need to edge the inside of this right here. Okay, we talked about it a while ago. It needs to be edged before the wallet's sewn together because I can't get to it after the wallet's sewn together. So, run right down the one side of it, and then I'll run down the back side of it with my edger. It's a very small edger. If your card pockets are not very even on the edges, you may want to just barely trim them with an extremely sharp knife. Okay, the sharper the knife you use, the better your result will be. If you don't have a very sharp knife or you're not very good at sharpening knives, that's one of the reasons I highly recommend scalpels or little snap blade craft knives. I'm pretty good at sharpening, I just don't like doing it, so that's why I use them. Alright, so I'm putting my Tokonole on that edge right there, and then I'm going to go over there and sew it. Usually I would sew it first and then Tokonole it, but like I said, I want to move over to the machine and do all the rest of this at the machine. Alright, wipe the excess off under my desk, just like the boogers I wiped when I was 6 years old, right? Don't say it's gross, you did it too. Alright, I'm going to easily burnish that. I'm not going to press hard because it's not sewn yet, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, but I do want to get it nice and burnished. Beautiful. Alright, we're going to head over to the sewing machine, and when we come back, we'll put all the rest of this thing together. Alright, so here we are. This is a class 18, so a Cobra machine. One of my absolute favorite machines by far. I'm using a 1/38 thread and a size 20 needle. If I was hand sewing, I would be using 8 stitches per inch and either a 0.6 or a 0.8 millimeter thread. The sample one I showed you has a 0.6 millimeter type thread, but I do like the 0.8 millimeter quite a bit too. So we're going to start out, we're doing this one side here that we just burnished. We're going to start out in reverse and do a couple of stitches here, and then we're going to go forward. Again, I really enjoy hand stitching, and I would love to hand stitch this project, but time does not allow. All right. So there we go. That one line is stitched. Clip off the excess here. Oop. All right, I'm gonna reposition the camera a little bit here. So here's all my pieces. A little bit of zoom out. All right. Now, it doesn't really matter where we put like the 1 pin loop versus the 2 pin loops, if they're on the front or the back, it doesn't matter. But on this particular wallet, I am going to put the 1 pin loop in the front, So when you open it like a book, it's on the front side, and then the 2 in the back. So this is how it'll be put together and assembled, just like this. Okay? So once again, I need to take my fingernail and just make a little line where the glue will stop underneath these. Okay? And then we're going to apply a little bit of contact cement, and we'll have to wait a few minutes for it to set up for us. Now, when I contact cement the back of my card pocket, I don't want to put it on the side that has the stitches. That's an open pocket. So we're going to put it around the other 3 edges, and then the 3 edges where it'll go to. Then the same here. We've got that one side that we creased. That's going to be the pocket side. You don't want to glue it. You want to glue the other 3 sides. Okay? So, put a little bit of contact cement on there. I don't like gluing on my sewing machine, so I'm going to keep it up in the air here. Barely on camera. Let me move it down a little bit. And again, just 1/8 of an inch or so on the edge. You're not trying to glue the whole dang thing down. Okay? Alright, and I'll do this piece, and I'll do its corresponding area here. Then I'll pause the camera, I'll do the other piece, and when we come back, they'll be ready to put together. I'm not trying to burn up a bunch of camera time here. Gotta find my fingernail marks. It's hard on this leather. It's I'm really not sure what this leather is. It was one we included in the project box. It is an awesome green pull-up leather. And anyway, it was something I found in the shop and was like, hey, let's do project boxes out of this. So we used a mixture of this leather, and then we had some nice brown Latigo, Herman Oak Latigo sitting around. So we used it for the other pieces. Anyway, and then this is our El Matador leather. It's English bridle. We had it made specifically for wallet interiors and stuff like that. So I'll continue gluing and we'll be back. Alright, so now here we go. The glue's on there. I'm going to take and place my card pocket on one side. Get it good and lined up before I press it down. Like that. Okay. Then on the other side, my notebook holder. Get it good and lined up before I press that down. There we go. Now, for this outside here, okay? I really need to mark a stitch line in these areas, just to make sure that my sewing machine is going to go straight, because generally I can keep it straight if I have an edge to watch, but here I don't have an edge to watch. But I'm going to put some glue down first for these little pin foldovers, okay? And they're going to be like this. If you'll notice, these edges are straight on the outside, and then these edges are curved on the inside. You want to line up the straight edges when you fold it over, and then you want to bring it in just a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch, making sure that your stitch line is going to run across that, and that's where we're going to glue those down. Okay? They'll seem kind of small and tight at first, but as you work a pin into it and everything, it'll break in, it'll stretch out, and it'll be really nice. On the other side, it's going to be the exact, it doesn't have a flat side. You want to center, it's wedge shaped. So you want to center, when you fold it over, you don't want it to lean to the left or the right. You want it just straight and centered. Okay, and I'm going to glue those two down right quick. right, I'm gonna give those just a second to set up, and then when I come back, we'll fold them over and I'll mark my stitch lines. All right, so we're back again. Glued it down to the table. I went ahead and just marked my little stitch lines in those areas right there. Okay, now I'm gonna fold those little pin loops over and glue them down. A little bit more than an eighth, maybe even a quarter of an inch in, just because I want to make dang sure that stitch, when it comes around, is where it needs to be and includes those. So there it is. It's time to sew this sucker. Okay? Reposition the camera here where it's back in the sewing machine area. Alright, and I'm just going to do a big line, or a big square, all the way around it. A rectangle, if you will. Again, I don't really use an edge guide too often on my sewing machine, so I'm just kind of eyeballing it. You know, a lot of the time I'll just leave my finger right here and it rubs up against it. I don't need to start out with a back stitch since I'm going all the way around the project. And yeah, we're just going to sew around this bad boy. Need to go slow where I'm going to crawl up onto that extra area there. Probably could have skived the ends of those little pin loops, and that would have helped this sewing machine walk over it better. Wouldn't be an issue if I was hand sewing, but the machine, you know, doesn't like going over different thicknesses. So yeah, it'll be fun though. Alright, up the other side. Okay, when I get back to my first stitch, I just go back over the first couple of stitches. There we go. Alright, when I come back, we'll be over there at the counter again, and we'll do our edges, and this project will be done. Alright folks, here it is. So for the first couple of uses, you have to push the pin into it pretty good and work it in there. One of the things I found works is take and just press against it here, and that'll open up those little loops. Anyway, and then the notebook, usually after I'm done building something like this, maybe the notebook doesn't immediately fit. One of the things I'll do is I'll take my finger in there and it just kind of breaks any glue that might have seeped in too far or something like that. So yeah, the notebook goes into it nicely. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some sanding on all of these edges and some burnishing, and this bad boy is done. So this video was actually done on time. So anyway, that's it, guys. This is the, I call it the Penlock Notebook. The template is available on our website. And yeah, hope you learned something. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them. And if you don't already subscribe to our channel, we'd appreciate it if you do. Have a great day.